All right, today we're diving into an invisible crisis, but one with some very, very visible consequences. The global shortage of helium. And trust me, this is about way more than just party balloons. When you hear the word helium, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Probably balloons floating at a birthday party, right? Or maybe making your voice sound all squeaky. But its real value, its true importance, goes so much deeper than that. The answer, of course, is helium. And that connection, well, it pulls back the curtain on a pretty startling truth. Our most advanced technology, everything from life-saving hospital equipment to the entire AI revolution, it's all completely dependent on this one surprisingly rare element. And look, this isn't some far-off problem for our kids to solve. It's happening right now. We've got a super fragile supply chain colliding with a huge spike in demand, and it's creating a perfect storm that could affect everything from your healthcare to the very device you're watching this on. So what's the big deal? What makes helium so special that we literally can't replace it? Well, it turns out this simple little gas has a set of unique superpowers that no other element in the universe can really match. So each of these properties is pretty powerful on its own. It's super stable, which is perfect for sterile manufacturing. It's incredibly light, which is great for things like weather balloons and rockets. But its real superpower, the thing that makes it an absolute game changer, it's the ability to get cold. I mean, ridiculously, absurdly cold. Think about an MRI machine. At its heart, it's a massive superconducting magnet that gets incredibly hot. Liquid helium is the only thing cold enough to keep those magnets from basically melting down. It's that simple. Without a steady flow of helium, one of the most important diagnostic tools we have in modern medicine just stops. And it's the exact same story in our digital world. To make the flawless microchips that power everything, you need a perfectly pure, totally non-reactive environment to stop any tiny defects. Helium provides that perfect sterile bubble. So yeah, the entire semiconductor industry, and by extension, the entire AI boom, is basically built on a foundation of helium. And its reach goes even further, right to the edges of human exploration. We're talking about pressurizing the fuel tanks on rockets heading to space, cooling the giant magnets at the Large Hadron Collider. Helium is fundamental to some of our biggest scientific leaps. And this is really the core of the whole issue. For these critical, high-tech jobs, you can't just swap in another element. There's no plan B. Helium is a one-of-a-kind tool, and we have built our entire modern world on top of it. So if it's so important, you're probably asking, why don't we just make more? Well, that's where the problem gets even trickier, because we can't. You see, helium isn't something we mine directly. It's a byproduct. It's created over millions and millions of years by the slow radioactive decay of elements like uranium deep inside the Earth's crust. It gets trapped in pockets of natural gas. So it took eons to form, and we are using it up in what is, geologically speaking, the blink of an eye. Now here's the real kicker. What makes it truly permanently finite is that helium is so light, Earth's gravity just can't hold on to it. So when a balloon pops or when it leaks out of a container, those atoms float up all the way to the top of the atmosphere, and then they just drift off into space, gone, forever. Every atom we release is lost for good. And getting that helium from a gas pocket underground to a chip factory is an incredibly complex and frankly fragile journey. At every single one of these steps, there are only a handful of facilities on the entire planet that can do the work. A single shutdown, a single disruption, can send shockwaves through the entire system. That fragility is made so much worse when you look at the geography. Production is insanely concentrated. Just 4 countries account for 90% of the world's supply. Qatar, all by itself, controls a third of the market. This creates an enormous geopolitical risk. So all of these factors are coming to a head right now. This isn't just theory. The combination of a shrinking, vulnerable supply and skyrocketing demand is creating a perfect storm, with some experts predicting a major crisis point as early as 2026. On one side, you have this supply chain that's vulnerable to global conflicts, major shipping choke points, and just old, failing infrastructure. And on the other side, you have the AI and tech industries gobbling it up faster than ever before. It's a classic economic squeeze, but with global consequences. This word right here tells you everything you need to know. It reportedly represents the total helium reserve that some of the world's biggest semiconductor manufacturers have on hand. Not months, not years, weeks. Their entire production line is just a few weeks away from grinding to a halt if that supply gets cut off. The fallout from that would be immediate. Hospitals could see the cost of essential MRI scans go way up, or worse, they might have to start rationing them. Tech companies could face major production shutdowns, delaying everything from new phones to the cloud servers we all rely on. And critical scientific research, it could be put on hold indefinitely. So what can we do about it? The good news is the world is waking up to this vulnerability, and the race is officially on to secure the future of helium. The main game plan involves a few key things. First, we need to get way better at capturing and reusing helium. We've been historically terrible at this. Second, we have to explore for new gas fields that have high concentrations of it. And third, this is a big one, we need to build new processing plants in more stable parts of the world to diversify the supply chain. But here's the catch. None of this is a quick fix. Not even close. Building a new helium liquefaction plant takes years and costs billions of dollars. And getting entire industries to install the tech they need to recycle it, that's a massive, slow-moving project. These are long-term fixes for a very, very immediate problem. It's so easy to dismiss helium as something trivial, something for parties. But as we've seen, it's one of the most critical and most vulnerable resources underpinning our entire high-tech world. Because at the heart of this whole crisis is that one simple, unchangeable fact. Every single atom of helium we lose is an atom we can never, ever get back. It forces us to ask a really tough question. Are we treating one of the world's most essential elements with the care it actually deserves?